We're going to dive into an unexplained story tonight. The real story of encounter with the Yovar demon. It took me a while to find out what the hell a Yovar demon is. I couldn't find anything on it. So what are the Yovar demons? I could honestly not really find much on the Yovar demons. I did find the story though, but I was able to find a little bit. These Yovar demons, they are ancient demons who are said to predate the devil and religion itself. They also predate the Norse gods like Zeus and all that, Vikings. You know, they have been lost in the pages of time. These beings would be called or known to us as the old gods, like the dark gods. So like the first godlike creatures to maybe have roamed our world before us as humans did, before the dinosaurs. Said to be unimaginably evil. Those are dark gods. They are very dark. So the occultists say that Yovar demons demand human sacrifices, all right? Or they would spread plagues, death, killing crops. Now we're going to talk about a story about an encounter of these Yovar demons a long time ago. A couple of witnesses who have seen these and some weird occult culty shit that happened as well. Take a travel with me back in time to the summer of 1962. All right, man, you know, it's the 60s. People are chilling. The war has been over. Cold War still going on, sadly. But, you know, everyone's just like living their best life now, right? Or coffee and pops like 5 cents. It's good times. Summer of 1962. 25-year-old mutant man named John Garnet Chaffins. He fell in love with a beautiful 19-year-old at a party in Whiston named Joanne Carlson. These are very white names. So they met at this party, they're having a good time, and they became both smitten with each other. Both just head over heels. And you know, when you're young, love happens really fast. So it was just like, boom, I love you. Shit. This is getting serious now. And for these two, it was instant connection. So you could say maybe they're soulmates. Now, how does this relate to the Yovar demons? We're getting there, don't worry, all right? The story follows John and Joanne and their encounter with these Yovar demons. So John and Joanne, they fall madly in love with each other. But there was one obstacle to their romance, which was a very large obstacle. It was the distance of nearly 60 miles. That's with 6 and 0, 60 miles. Because Joanne lived in a little town of Holmfirth in West Yorkshire. The long distance, John borrowed some money from his father and he bought a Morris Minor, which is it's like a car back then, all right? To make a twice weekly journey to his girlfriend's. So back then they didn't have Zoom, they didn't have Skype. They had to drive to meet each other in these long distances. It was the only way to get some tail back in those days. You know, going 60 miles. What would you do for a dick or some pussy? Phone sex was optional, but shit, man, that thing cost $0.25 a minute. And back then that was a lot of money, all right? Or I guess I could use like the Morse code, you know? Like talk dirty in Morse code. That was also optional, but I think phone sex would have been very difficult with that. Like, beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. Dirty girl. Oh my God. John and Joanne met together one night. On this night, they're about to encounter one of the most bizarre paranormal encounters to ever be recorded in the history books. So it is 1962, September. It is summertime. Pretty much summertime over there. John was taking Joanne home via the A635, which is a lonely road which crosses some of the most bleak moorland of Greater Manchester. So just like, that's like the prairies, just like flat land, farms and shit. There's just like nothing out there, right? On this night of around 11:30 p.m., you know, they're driving down the back road. They're having a good time. They listen to like, I guess oldies. Well, oldies back then would be their music, right? So they're just like jamming along. John and Joanne holding hands. I love you, babe. I love you too, John. As the car was passing through Saddleworth Moor, a low, oppressive, opalescent moonlit cloud started to billow and change shape as if a whirlwind-like atmospheric disturbance was stirring things up in the sky. Mist coming in. The effect reminded John of the blossoming-shaped drops of milk make when they disappear into a tumbler of clear water. That's very descriptive, John. Thank you. So imagine getting some water, clear glass, and just drop some milk in there, right? It's like, pfft. And just like billowing, right? So this is what these clouds were doing. And the mist starts to roll in front of them, covering the road. Joanne, of course, she has a phobia of storms. After being struck by lightning as a child, she survived. So I don't blame her for being scared of storms. She was thinking, well, we should be fine. We're in a car. I'm with John. Lightning surely doesn't strike twice. Although tell that to my 4th grade teacher who got struck by lightning twice. So Joanne gazed into the turbulent heavens beyond the windscreen. She clung onto John's left arm as he drove along the road. These dark clouds rolling in, the darkness slowly filling the sky and blocking out the lights. So as John and Joanne, they continue down this road, a weird gray mist rolls out of the darkness, goes across the road, covers the road in front of them. The clouds above continue to billow in, right? Just rolling like waves in the ocean, forming unnatural shapes. Now, Joanne was scared, right? Her eyes were starting to dart around as they're driving down this road, through the mist, through the darkness, when all of a sudden, she lets out a small yelp. She points over and says, "What's that over there, John?" Joanne had spotted something. "What?" said John, startled by his girlfriend's sudden outburst. He was thinking maybe the fog was playing tricks with her mind, with her vision. Maybe she's seeing shit in the fog that's not really there. Before he could look, the car's electronics stopped working, and the car stalled and came to a stop. At this moment, John looked towards where his girlfriend was pointing. "Over there." "What's over there, John?" He saw something shadowy, something colossal, looming over the moorland to the left of the road in the mist. They described it as such. Vaguely human in shape, gigantic, about 50 feet high, maybe taller. Had a faint orange glow around its body. Shoo. It leaned over almost like it was about to topple over itself, but it never did. And it continued moving with its body at that angle. Now, John and Joanne, they were awestruck. They're like, "What the hell are we seeing? Is this an elephant? Is this a 50-foot tall elephant? Is this some kind of godlike creature?" What does Joanne do? She's like, "Well, I should get a better look at this." So she rolls down her window. First off, giant creature and mist. Keep your window up. You don't want to get snatched out of the vehicle. You don't know what could come flying in through the window, wrap around your neck and pull your lady friend out, right? Or what else is out there? It could have little minions running around or some shit, right? But as she rolled the window down, they could hear something. They could hear the thud. Boom. Boom. The thud of the giant creature walking across the moor. Shaking the ground, the creature, aware of their presence, peered towards their car. Now, I don't know if he could tell if there's fear near him, or if he could smell them, but he did see them. He was very well aware. As it looked towards them, its eyes flared up. The face was flat, with a prominent protruding jaw. Like fucking under chin or some shit. They were in awe of what they were seeing. They weren't sure what to make of it. Was it a demon, a type of creature from another dimension? Was it God? They're so engrossed with this creature that 500 yards away, they did not notice another creature thudding towards them until a little bit. They looked and saw this creature that was gathering in the mist. The second creature, just as big, just as orange, just as fucked up looking, made out the silhouette of it. It started charging towards them. Thud, 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 thud. Ah! Joanne let out a giant scream. John, scared to death, not knowing what the hell this thing is, tries starting the car over and over again. The car was dead. He's turning over, pumping the gas. Come on now, he's saying, start. And boom, car starts. The creature getting closer with each thud. After John finally was able to start the car, hit the car in reverse, and floored it backwards, blindly not knowing where he was going. He said, "Fuck who's ever behind me. If I hit you, well, that's too bad, because I don't want to get crushed or eaten by this creature. Or worse, I don't know what would be worse." Turns the car, stops, turns the wheel to turn around. He was able to finally turn the car around. Now, he was ready to take off, right? He was ready to shift this fucking car, this bitch, into drive. He was going to drive to Liverpool. Like, all right, we're out of here. I don't know what the hell that thing is, or those things were. We're out of here. He was about to drive when he saw a group of figures, human form, emerge from the mist in front of them on the road. They were wearing all black hooded robes, similar to what monks wore or wear, but all in black. These figures start running towards them, jogging. But there's a fucking car there. Let's go say hi to them. Not knowing what to do, John is confused as to why there were people out here while these giant beasts were fornicating in the giant fields together. The people ran towards them. He honked his horn, yelling at them to get off the road, but they didn't move. So he decided to play a game of chicken. He shifted the car into drive. He drove right towards them, honking, flashing his lights. He's like, "Move out of the way." When a dozen more people came out of the mist, he hit the brakes, stopped. He wasn't going to plow through these people, right? He's not a murderer. He didn't want to run them over. He was trying to call their bluff, but they did not. One of the figures, though, broke from the form, ran around to the driver's side window, John screamed at Joanne to roll your window up. What are you doing with it down in the first place? So Joanne, startled, shit, she rolls her window up because she doesn't want to be snatched or taken out. Tall hooded man had a wild look in his eyes. Open the door, he says. John was thinking, I don't think that's a good idea. John's thinking, no. You know what? This wild Scottish man, dressed all in black, robe, wild look in his eyes, saying, open the door. I ain't gonna do it. That's the stupidest idea ever. That's when the Scottishman reached down below, pulled up an interesting looking knife, almost like a ceremonial knife, right? John saw this. He's like, oh shit, this wild Scottishman is gonna smash my window. And he's either A, gonna murder us, B, drag us out of the car, C, drag us out of the car, then murder us, D, feed us to the giant 50-foot chickens or whatever in the fields. That was when John's like, you know what? Screw this shit. I'm either gonna floor it out of here and they're gonna jump out of the way, or I'm gonna floor it. I'm gonna hit every goddamn person on this road because I don't want to get murdered out here in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Okay. So he floored it. The hooded figures jumped out of the way of the car and they drove back to Liverpool, scared out of their minds. John and Joanne came across these creatures, right? Let's fast forward a couple years later. John saw a picture of Moore's murderer, Ian Brady. Now, he could have swore that this was the wild Irish, Scottish, whatever gentleman looking at him through the window, bearing the knife, ready to murder him, right? The man who pulled the knife. So now we're in the future, 1970. John and Joanne are now married. On this night, John and Joanne took the same route. They go visit Joanne's parents. It was midnight, of course, just like the night previous of when they met these creatures and these weird ocular people. As they passed Saddleworth Moor, they looked into the fields and they could see the same thing happening. Dark clouds rolling in, a mist forming, and in this mist, in the darkness, they could make out two giant colossal beings striding across the misty landscape. John thinking, not again, gunned it and got out of there before anything else could happen. Now, what were these creatures? They say they're Yovar demons, old gods that are still around. Maybe they went down the same road because they're like, hey, it probably can't happen twice, right? This is one of the most insane paranormal encounters that's been recorded. Now, if this is all true, then what they witnessed was possibly, these demonic beings, maybe old gods from our world hanging around. They're still around here, hanging over in Scotland in the goddamn fields where there's nobody else. Or, they encountered these hooded figures, these ocular people. Maybe these ocular people summoned these beings from another dimension, right? Trying to do something. Maybe they're sacrificing somebody to them. One of the figures was a murderer, presumed murderer. So maybe that's what they were doing, right? So what do you guys think of the Yovar demon? Do you guys have any theories as to what it was, what they are?